VA cash out refinance, what is it? How's it work? We often talk about the VA IRRRL, or what we call our favorite Uncle Earl, interest rate reduction and finance loan. That's where on a VA loan, you don't have to do an appraisal, you don't even really need income verification, limited credit issues, and you can lower your rate so long as interest rates are lower. You can easily lower your interest rate and your payments. Fantastic product. But what if I wanted to pull some cash out of the home? Especially right now where we have record home values and record low loan balances, sometimes folks are wanting to pull some cash out. And we'll talk if that's really a good idea or not, because I'm usually in the camp that you want to be very cautious about pulling equity and cash out of your home. But let's say you did determine that you did want to do that. With a VA loan, can you do it? Yes, you can. And here's how it works. It works very similarly to a traditional, conventional cash out refinance. So we would have to do an appraisal. You've got your income documentation, credit, all those good things, and then you can pull cash out of the home. But here's the kicker with the VA cash out refinances versus a conventional loan. It's very similar to when you're purchasing with a VA loan versus a conventional loan. You typically end up with more competitive interest rates because VA loans, they just have that. Why? Because the VA, remember, they guarantee the loan up to a certain point. For most loans, they guarantee 25% of the loan balance for us lenders. So that allows us to offer generally more competitive interest rates. You also won't have private mortgage insurance if you pull out more than 80% of the loan value, which means that it's a benefit that you don't have an extra monthly penalty cost. Because here's the deal, with the VA cash out refinance, it is possible to take out up to 100% of the appraised value on the home. So let's say that home appraises for $400,000. You could technically take out up to $400,000. Now, if you have a loan balance already on that home, let's say you bought it for $300,000 and the loan balance now is $250,000. You got it appraised. It's been 5 years, 10 years, appraise it, and it's worth $400,000, let's say. Not uncommon for what we've seen the last few years here in the 2020-ish period of home value appreciation. But let's say it appraises at $400,000 and you want to pull all that out. Well, you can pull the full $400,000 out, but you're going to have to pay off that $250,000 balance that you still have, leaving you with somewhere around that $150,000 mark. And that is very possible. But here's one of the things you always want to keep in mind when you're doing these cash out refinances. And if you've been listening on the radio, you hear a lot of pitches for do a cash out refi, take the money out, pay off other debt, and then people sneak in there, go on vacation, fun stuff. Sure, you can totally use the money for whatever you want in those regards. Like, there's no strings attached other than making sure you pay off your other mortgage or debts that are tied to the property, or let's say to qualify for the cash out refinance, because unlike the Earl, unlike our favorite Uncle Earl, you got to really qualify for this one, appraisal, income, credit, all that stuff. And if for some reason, let's say, you can get the cash out refinance of 100%, but you got to pay off that truck or those credit cards. Well, part of the cash out refinance would go to paying those off. That's all possible, consolidating credit, right? But let's look beyond that. Is it really smart to take out this money for going on vacations and doing maybe upgrades that you feel would be better for the home, but are they really? I'm personally going to tell you right up front, hey, that's probably not worth it. That should not be the purpose of doing a cash out refinance. Doing a cash out refinance should ideally be helping you consolidate debts. So if you really have some high interest debt that you just can't get away from, we always recommend it's ideal if you can still knock them out, because once you combine it all together, it just becomes a bigger debt lump sum. But if you just can't, and we can consolidate to bring your overall payments down, those are some of the few scenarios where it's okay to do a cash out refinance. If you really have all your financials in order and in really good shape, and you want to go purchase some different rental properties, investment properties, stuff that has strong assets to it, you can make a case for cash out refinance. But for most folks, it's not the greatest idea unless you're in a situation where it's got to be done. So for doing it for vacations and all that kind of stuff, that's me going on a bit of a personal rant. I think that's a little wild, because think of it this way, you're financing essentially your vacations. You might already do that on your credit cards and everything else, and some folks will pitch it as, oh, hey, it's at a lower interest rate than you putting those trips on your credit cards. But here's the deal. Once you essentially finance in those vacations into a cash out refinance, because let's say you wanted to pull out $50,000 for your cash out refi, and you're going to go use $20,000 for just a killer family vacation, you're paying that off over 30 years. It's not a short-term deal. It's broken into the full loan. So if it's a 30-year cash out refinance, then that gets to be spread out over 30 years. And even though the interest rate's lower, over all that time, it compounds to be a whole lot more. So I would not recommend using it for all the personal fun stuff that sometimes you hear from folks selling them. Cash out refinance should really be used only if it's helping put you in a better financial position from a monthly payment perspective, or if you have a really good financial picture and you're looking to try to pull some money out to go reinvest and put it in assets that don't depreciate, those can be some of the worthwhile situations. But hopefully this helps explain a little bit more about that VA cash out refinance. Yes, you can take up to 100% of the appraised value. Now, some lenders are different on that, but we can go that 100% on the VA, on the appraised value. You do, though, have to go back through appraisal, income verification, and credit checks, unlike that VA IRRRL, which we have some other videos that you definitely want to watch, which is just personally, I think, the most incredible loan product that you have access to with a VA loan, which is where you can lower your interest rate. So long as rates have gone down, a lender can lower your interest rate and you don't have to pay for an appraisal, minimum income, and credit documentation. It's really a big protection for VA loans, but you can't pull cash out. So if you want to pull the cash out, hopefully this video helped give you a little bit more understanding about it and how to use it. And then you got a little bit of my thought process on just understanding how to use it and to be cautious when using VA cash out refinances, because I'm in the camp right now with the world really starting to push, or the lending world really starting to push a lot of refinances. You got to be careful about doing those cash out refinances, because even though it sounds really good right now, it could put you in a worse position later. So just be careful with it. Reach out to see if you have any questions. Always happy to help. My name is Evan Kaufman, your VA loan originator. Take care.